A little while ago, I 3D printed a electric violin. This is the Minna Violin by Jaxelson on Thingiverse. And I did make a speedrun video where I just kind of showcased how very quickly I put everything together. And I intended to do a follow-up complete tutorial for it. I did, however, wait a little bit longer than I was expecting. But here it is. So this is a tutorial of how I did the whole thing and my setup. So this video is going to include bill of materials, so the 3D printed parts, as well as the parts that you need to purchase. It includes how to assemble the whole thing and how I have my personal setup. I think if you have a proper amp or electric instrument equipment, you'll probably be pretty much set. I did not have those things, so I will show you also my setup and also how it sounds and how it compares to my actual violin. Now, these are the 3D printed parts that you're going to need. Essentially, you have the neck piece, the part that's going to go with your pickup wiring. Your pickup wire is going to go right through this hole. And then your third part, which is where your pegs are going to go. And then this is going to hold essentially everything together. And your carbon fiber or your threaded rod is going to go straight through here. But essentially these are all the parts that you need to actually print. You do have a couple of parts that are more for cosmetics, and those are these parts. Essentially the chin rest, you have the option of either printing your chin rest or just purchasing one. I purchased mine. They're fairly inexpensive from AliExpress, and I think it yields a better result that way. And something else that's worth noting is that this neck part, there is one that has supports already included in the model, and there's one that has no supports. I would recommend printing the supportless version and adding supports in your slicer. I did print the one with supports on mine. I think they were far harder to remove than regular supports are. I had to snip it off and also send it, and I don't think you should have to do all that. I think supports are going to be a lot easier to remove from the slicer. As for the parts that you'll need to purchase if you intend to make this, I did get the majority of my parts from AliExpress. I did get a couple from Amazon, and I'll kind of outline which ones were what. I will also leave updated links for AliExpress in the description. A lot of the items, the specific items that I bought, are no longer up, the listings, so I'll try and find updated ones for those. So essentially you need 4 strings, EADG. You will need a threaded or carbon fiber rod. In my case, I got a carbon fiber rod, which was 500 millimeters, and I cut it to fit to be the right size. You'll also need left and right hand pegs. You'll need 2 of each. In my case, I got a set of 6 guitar tuning pegs, and that worked out fine. You'll need a bridge. I think you can also print the bridge, but I've never tried that before, and I haven't seen a lot of people who have, so I recommend just purchasing one. They're very inexpensive. Also, any additional hardware. You'll need 11 M4 screws, 8 brass inserts so that you are actually threading into the insert and not into the plastic. And then this is going to vary on what kind of tuning pegs you're using. In my case, I just needed 4 bolts, 4 M4 bolts to be able to install the tuning pegs. You'll also need mounting hardware for your pickup. Most pickups come with their own mounting hardware, but just make sure that it does. And then optionally, you can use a shoulder rest if you use it normally. As I mentioned, my rod was a little bit too long, so I had to cut 10.5 centimeters off of it. And with the rod ready, it's just a matter of putting the main body together. Next, I installed the pegs. I don't think this was made with these specific pegs in mind, but they're the one that I found for sale when I was looking for them. So they have the mounting holes in a slightly different spot than the model expects them to be, which is it's not a problem I found. They're just like a little bit more prone to being wiggly and maybe less prone to keeping tuning. And it's been fine, it hasn't been a big deal whatsoever. Now this is where it kind of gets pretty tricky pretty quickly. The piezoelectric sensor wire goes through this, essentially the same spot as the rod does. And this is where I actually stripped a little bit of my wire, to the point where there is a violin neck part 2 better pick wiring, which is the one that I printed, but it doesn't seem to quite fix the issue. I don't have a good solution for this, aside from be careful while you're trying to thread it through. Now it's time to install the threaded inserts. Essentially what you want is to heat them up enough that they kind of melt the plastic and kind of become one. How I did this was using a soldering iron. That seems to be a pretty acceptable solution. I've also seen people do it with a heat gun. But either way, be careful that you don't burn yourself. It is a little bit tricky. Now it's kind of a matter of putting everything together. So you have the body itself, which has the rod inside of it, and then a longer M4 screw that goes right on top of it. Then you have the printed part that's going to hold your pickup casing. You have a little cosmetic piece right on top that you can add, and you also have a cosmetic piece that you can add to the middle. After you tighten those up, now it's time to add your active pickup. You're almost done. I did sand the fingerboard so it would be a little bit nicer to touch while you're playing. I'm not sure, there was like a little lip on the edge. I'm not sure if there was a purpose for it, but I got rid of it while I was sanding it, and it seemed to not really make a difference. And so it's just a matter of adding your strings like you would a regular violin, and you're done. And so that gets us to how do we actually play the damn thing. So I have my violin linked to an iRig 2 using an aux cord and a 3/4 adapter, which is connected to my laptop, and I'm recording things on Audacity. I'm sure that's like, there's better software, more expensive software or whatever, but Audacity's free. I did run into an issue where Windows audio enhancements completely blocked the sound, so there was actually no recorded sound, and I kept trying to figure it out. It was just window enhancements, sound enhancements. So if you run into that, make sure you check that out and see if that's maybe what's causing the problem. So that's it. Let me know if you make this. Let me know if you've made it before. Let me know if you have any tips on how to make it sound better, or if you play other electrical instruments, or if you have any feedback on anything. I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around until the end. See you next time.